Hello and welcome to another episode of the INDY Sports Recap. I'm your boy Smizum Somi, senior journalist at Independent Media. A lot of Betway Premiership action to go through from the past weekend. Have the goals finally come alive when it comes to the title race? It's a huge result against Mamelodi Sundowns. What's actually going on across town from them? What's wrong with Kaizer Chiefs? And have AmaZulu's CAF ambitions all but ended after just 3 games? Let's get into that. Yeah, so let's actually start in Soweto. Action-packed, top of the table clash at the FNB Stadium over the weekend. Orlando Pirates obviously making a huge stride in terms of confidence and perhaps towards the title race as well, beating Mamelodi Sundowns 2-1 thanks to a quick fire brace by none other than Mofokeng. Yeah, what does that result mean? It means Pirates are now 15 points behind Mamelodi Sundowns, but also with those 4 games in hand. Is that a revival? Is that something that we're looking at and thinking perhaps there's still a chance there? At least that's what the Orlando Pirates fans are going to feel at this point. A 15-point gap is still a lot to make up, even with those games in hand. If Pirates were to able to win all of those games, actually, they would end up just 3 points behind Mamelodi Sundowns. However, if we've seen Orlando Pirates this season, if you've seen Orlando Pirates over the last 2 seasons as well, do we truly believe that they can go on a 5, 6, 7 game winning run in the league? Not quite. Not quite. I think the ball is still in the court of Mamelodi Sundowns. Yes, they may have taken a huge knock, but for them, it'll probably feel like a slight knock, given the advantage and the kind of consistency they've built not only this season but over the years as well. They have a lot of championship winners in that team. They have a lot of players who've seen and done this before. They have a lot of players playing at a very high level. They have a really good coach as well. I think it's very hard for me to see Mamelodi Sundowns blowing it at this point in time, but it does leave things at the top of the table really interesting, or at least for us neutrals. You don't know what to really expect when the international break comes to an end in 2 weeks and when domestic action returns. So it really does leave a cliffhanger on proceedings at the top of the table. But yes, huge results for Orlando Pirates, huge result for Jose Rivera as well. Another thing that will please, I think, the coach and most Orlando Pirates fans as well is the fact that on a game like this, in a very big and crucial game for the club and for their season, you have 2 youngsters that sort of take the game by the scruff of their neck and show their worth. Obviously, we've seen Relebogile and Mofokeng operating at a very high level for about 2 seasons now, so we know what he's about. Yes, 2 big goals. Again, this is against Mamelodi Sundowns. It's not just against any other side. This is the strongest defense. Bafana internationals, seasoned professionals. So no one could ever take anything away from Relebogile's goals. 2 well-taken goals, shows his poise, shows his composure at the right moments, the timing, the placing, just all around perfect. But I think the another name that emerged from that game, and I think we've seen him in previous games as well, at the back, Mbegezeli Mbokazi. My word. So we've seen young defenders before. We've seen the likes of Sesane break through. We've seen, 'Malibongwe' Khoza at Mamelodi Sundowns break through. 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 'Malibongwe' Khoza at Mamelodi we've seen young defenders break through into big teams, but it usually takes them a while to settle and show their best qualities, and consistently so. Um, I know it's only been 3 or 4 games with the Mbegezeli Mbogazi, but it looks as if he has been at that Pirates team and in that Pirates backline for a while now. Looks so composed, never flustered, never fearful of anyone or anything. You can even get it from his speech when he speaks about his game. Obviously, he got the man of the match on the day, deservedly so. To be able to weather a Mamelodi Sundowns storm and keep the likes of Lucas Ribeiro at bay. You had your Shalulile, you had your Rainers there to be able to play a big role in ensuring that they don't make much of an impact in the game. Oof. It's that was probably Mbogazi's best game ever. That's probably the game he will reference every time he talks about special moments in his career. Whatever he goes on to do now, whatever he goes on to win, he will remember that game. Special performance. The boy from KZN. Indoda engahlulwa enye indoda yona. Yeah. Yeah, so perfect day for Orlando Pirates. Perfect day for just generally the club. Yeah, but I still think there's still a lot to be said when it comes to the title race. There's still a lot of factors to consider. But yeah, Orlando Pirates, the ghost may have awakened. Yeah, so from one side of Soweto all the way to the other, had an opportunity to watch Richards Bay versus Kaizer Chiefs over the weekend. Action-packed game, but not in the way Kaizer Chiefs would have liked. 2 second-half goals by Ufezile Kaba and Wianela Mbutuma deciding the game on the day. Huge results for Richards Bay when it comes to boosting their relegation survival ambitions. I think they moved 3 points away from the relegation zone. Obviously, a lot still to play for at this time of the season, but huge results for the Natal Rich Boys there. But on the other side, Kaizer Chiefs suffered their 9th defeat of the season. That's the most defeats they've suffered, I think, after 21 games of a PSL season. So things are looking very good there for head coach Nazruddin Nabi. Obviously saw, I think, an average performance in the first half. Saw a capitulation in the second half. A lot to be made about that Kaizer Chiefs performance, but not just that performance in particular, but also their performance against Cape Town City, and then their performance against SuperSport United before that when they lost 4-1 at FNB. Something's going wrong at Chiefs. The coach cuts a frustrated figure at every press conference, understandably so, considering the performance of his team. But at the cusp or at the top of his problems is his declining attacking output. If you remember Chiefs in the first round, or rather the first period of the season, Chiefs were one of the highest creating teams in the Premiership. At some point, they were creating more chances per game, more than Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates. But then somehow that has since reclined. But also, second on their list of problems is their defensive worries, and they've had these since the start of the season. I think they've only kept like 3 clean sheets in all competitions this season. That's not a football team. That's not a football team that's being set up to win trophies. Obviously, they still have the Nedbank Cup to go, but you look at this Kaizer Chiefs teams and this Kaizer Chiefs team rather. And whenever teams go through such periods, I know this is also still a rebuilding phase. Coach Nabi was very quick to point that out in the press conference yesterday as well. But when you look at big clubs like Kaizer Chiefs, you look at the personnel on the pitch, the personnel on the bench, technical team as well. You want to be able to see figures that you think other players could look to whenever such spells come around. And when you look at the Chiefs team, I know Tabutele has given them a huge boost in terms of midfield, in terms of leadership as well. The players speak highly of him and his influence since arriving at Naturena, but you want to be able to see more than just one or two faces that can help balance the team out or can help boost the team, whether it's in confidence, whether it's in experience and being able to weather difficult situations. And I think Chiefs are just struggling with that, and they don't have as many of those figures as they would like to have. Obviously now, I think, yeah, they are. I think they're 6 points behind third placed Stellenbosch. Mathematically, it still leaves them with a chance to be able to qualify for the CAF Confederations Cup. But performance-wise and realistically, from what we've seen from Chiefs over recent weeks or over the course of the whole season, is anyone expecting them to get 3 or 4 wins on the trot? Because I think that's the only way that they make a CAF Confederation spot. They're 8th now on the Betway Premiership. Can they really climb up that high? I don't think so personally. I think the most realistic target now becomes just qualifying for the top 8 and hopefully not finish 8th, because that would mean they would probably have to face Mamelodi Sundowns in the MTN 8 next season, and I don't think that's something that they want at this point in time. So yeah, I think just finish higher than 8th, because yeah, it doesn't look good for Coach Nabi. Yeah, and then finally we can get into AmaZulu's CAF ambitions. Obviously Usutu had a good couple of weeks under Coach Atazwane, even with the departure of Coach Vusmuzi about a month ago now. It was expected that probably like they would have a wobble of some sort, but they didn't seem to bother them much until the last 3 games. The last 3 games, obviously, they drew against Super Sports. They lost against Mamelodi Sundowns, and on Friday they lost against TS Galaxy. Yeah, from what looked like a possible late push for the 3rd spot as well, seems to have capitulated to a tough battle for the top 8 for the KwaZulu Natal base outfit. Obviously, it's actually very hard to criticize AmaZulu, because at the start of the season, after 3 games, they were bottom of the log, obviously leading to the firing of their coach, the appointment of Coach Atazwad and Vismus Vilagaz, who have sort of steadied the ship and obviously improved them as well. So it's very hard to lay a criticism, because when you look at AmaZulu from the past 2 seasons, they had been in relegation fights at this time of the season. So for the 2 coaches to come in now and for the squad to finally fulfill their potential, I think for them finishing 3rd would have been, I think it would have been exceeding expectation. Realistically, I think the club also probably felt that they would be best suited in the top 8. Obviously, the long-term goal and the bigger goal is to be in those CAF places, but I think being in those CAF places might have been a case of too soon for AmaZulu, and perhaps that is beginning to show itself, because you sort of look at the fact that now they are, I think after their loss against TS Galaxy, they are 6 points. Yeah, they're 6 points behind third placed Stellenbosch, but they've also played two more games than Stellenbosch. So that could easily turn from 6 to 12, and then it's CAF hopes done. I think the biggest thing that Coach Zwane could do at this point is just settle the nerves, set realistic targets for his team. Obviously, they have the international break now as well, so an opportunity to just readjust, reground his group, uh, and they play Chippa when they return. I think on the 29th or the 30th, not too sure there. But yeah, I think CAF ambitions all but done for AmaZulu. I could be wrong. They could prove me wrong. But yeah, unfortunate end to their hopes there. But yeah, it's just about setting realistic targets now and just seeing what they could get from the last 7 games of the season. Because obviously every team is battling for something at this point of the season. Chippa is fighting to save their lives as well, or rather to not be drawn into that relegation battle. After that, they'll face Richards Bay, who are in the relegation battle. So, yeah, it's just being able to take. I think as Coach Ada always says that, and we'll be able to take game by game and see just how much you can drain from what remains of the season. Yeah, but Africa, not the season, Msutu.